Good morning, I'm still Jeremy, and if you've ever been to Osaka, Japan, you might recognize what's behind me. I am at Shin-Osaka Station, which is the train station in the north part of Osaka where you can catch Shinkansen bullet trains. That's what I'm doing today. I'm taking a train today. It's probably my last chance to see this train, this very, very famous train, which used to be the fastest. Now it's the slowest, and it will be soon going away. They're going to scrap it next year. So there's this one time a day that I found. It's a strange route I have today, and it was very difficult to buy tickets for this, but I'll explain all this when it comes in a few minutes. It's called the Kodama, and it's going from here in Osaka all the way on the Sanyō Shinkansen line all the way to Fukuoka on the island of Kyushu. Shinkansens, the world's first bullet trains, have been running in Japan since 1964. Technology continues to improve incrementally. What was once cutting edge is now past its prime. That white train arriving on the next platform is from the N700 series from 2007. They can handle turns at higher speeds and have more powerful acceleration than trains that came before. Mine is from the 500 series. When it began in 1997, 500s were the world's fastest bullet train, up to 300 kilometers per hour or 185 miles per hour. Mine is just arriving after a 3-hour journey from Shin-Iwakuni. There were a total of 9 sets of 500s built. One was for testing, so 8, all comprised of 16 cars, were the pride of the Shinkansen network for a time. The number of cars was reduced from 16 to 8 per train in the late 2000s, and the extras were scrapped. Later, 2 of the 8 500s were withdrawn and scrapped altogether, leaving 6. As of this video, 4 of those are scheduled to be scrapped next year, 2026, and the last 2 in 2027. This is the oldest Shinkansen currently running in Japan. The 500 was designed to be super aerodynamic. Its famous and distinct nose is shaped like the beak of a kingfisher. So in a way, the whole 500 Shinkansen is like a notable bird. But unfortunately, I'm not doing my checklist today. Okay, I gotta find my car 6 and seat 17B. So I need to find car 6. Like most things in Japan, there is a system of knowing where you board the train even before it arrives, but you have to know the complexities of the system. At this spot on the platform, you board car number 6, but only if your train has 16 total cars. I know that mine has 8, so this is where you'd board for car number 2. This is where you'd board car number 6 if your train has 8 cars, but not if it's a 500 series apparently. Here it is. Of course, you can just ask someone or look at the numbers on the cars once your train arrives, but for those in the know, there is a way. Not that it really matters for me anyway, because I have a reserved seat. I'm riding the entire Sanyō Shinkansen line today, end to end. Like normal trains, there are classifications of Shinkansens, and not all trains stop at all stations. There are currently 5 classifications of trains that run on the Sanyō Shinkansen line. Nozomi stops at the fewest stations and is the sensible choice for going where I'm going. Hikari stops at a few more stations, and there are also Mizuho and Sakura trains that continue further into Kyushu. Mine is Kodama, the slowest. It still tops out at 300 kilometers per hour, but I mean it stops at every station, the Shinkansen version of a local. In fact, I tried to buy my tickets at a JR vending machine last night, and it wouldn't even give me this option because it's so inefficient. Nobody would ever want this. So I had to buy the tickets this morning from a live clerk here at Shin-Osaka Station, and even she hesitated, and she said, "Well, it takes 4.5 hours. Is that okay?" And I chose this one because it's the only one that goes the whole way and is a 500 series. It cost me 15,280 yen. How come I was so careful to board at the one correct door for my car, but I'm fighting an onslaught coming at me from the other end? Whatever, here's 17D. A nice private window seat in the back. Reserved for royalty, I guess. Your Highness? My seat is on the right, so I'm generally looking towards the north. The first thing you see, of course, is the overwhelming and tacky sprawl as you leave Ōsaka towards Kobe. Gradually, the buildings get smaller, though, and there's enough space to breathe. Ōsaka and Fukuoka, where I'm going, are the two largest cities in western Japan, so most of the ride shouldn't be this bad. I'd imagine that most people aren't going the whole way. Only those who are riding the train for the sake of it, like me. By the way, see how the seats are in a 2-2 configuration? This used to be a green car. Green means first class on JR trains, but that term, first class, was discontinued in 1969. Green cars can have roomier seats and stuff like slippers and hot towels and dedicated attendants. Now this is just a regular reserve seat car without all the perks, except for the roomier seats. For the same price. I'd say I lucked out. The seats tilt too far back maybe, but the car is designed so that it doesn't disturb your meal. This is the first tunnel on the route. There are 142 tunnels between Ōsaka and Fukuoka. Just over 50% of the line is inside them. So if you're hoping for a break from the vast urban dystopia of southern Hyogo Prefecture, well, you get this. You asked for it. This is the first stop, Shin-Kōbe Station. Besides the endpoints of this line, only 4 stations are important enough that every Shinkansen stops, and this is one of them. Shinkansen rails are wider apart than those of normal trains, so the bullet train network doesn't intersect with anything else. They do share stations sometimes, though, with separate facilities within easy walking distance in them. The Kobe subway uses Shin-Kōbe, but otherwise it's Shinkansen only. Regular JR trains, plus those of the other railways, all use Sannomiya, nearly a mile south of here, for regular Kobe traffic. I always think there's an elevated air of luxury and importance to the Shinkansen, so it's kind of funny to see that most stations like this one are pretty much like any other. Open air, pleasant, but merely functional. Just a lot longer than regular platforms. And, well, I guess this one has its own 7-Eleven right on the platform. So far, we haven't been hitting our max speed. That comes after the next station. I don't know why, this wide flat plane has a long straight track. Seems like we could put the pedal to the metal, but maybe it's something to do with the curves and tunnels and stuff. This is Nishi-Akashi Station. That's another Kodama train on its way to Ōsaka. It's a 700 not a 500, but it's decorated with a special design. Trains often get a special product tie-in, often with cartoon characters like this one. This is based on the manga One Piece. The thing about being on a local Shinkansen is you have to wait at stations sometimes for express ones to pass. At these speeds, my entire train gets blown back noticeably by the force every time. still in Hyogo Prefecture, and we're getting close to one of Japan's more famous cities for visitors. That train on the left, if you can see it, is a limited express called JR Super Hakuto. I did a video about my ride on that train a while back if you're interested. This is the Ichi River. It used to flow naturally right beside what is now Japan's most famous castle, but the river was rerouted about 300 years ago to here. That castle, Himeji, is visible from the Shinkansen to the north, but it's nearly a mile away, and you have to really know where to look. There. Okay, you can see it from the station. I think it's right behind this building, and... oh. Well, fair enough, I guess. If you missed the castle, you should probably get out and go see it, because it's a World Heritage Site, and the restored castle complex and the grounds are phenomenal and worth the effort. If not, don't worry. A bit later there's a castle that's right next to a Shinkansen station. Between Nishi-Akashi and the end is where the 500 series Shinkansen gets up to 300 kilometers per hour, 185 miles per hour, at its fastest. It's actually designed to go faster, but realities of the route keep it down a little. There is, by the way, free Wi-Fi aboard. You find the network, you agree to whatever, you choose a way to sign in. I used an email address. Click the link in the email and you're online. The next station is the last one in Hyogo, in a city that's good if you like vowels. It used to be a village called O, and then it became the town of O. It was upgraded again to a city and the name was changed to Aioi, although the kanji remained the same. So if you're studying kanji and you get disheartened, don't worry. Apparently you can change the pronunciation at your own whim. Aioi is famous for one of Japan's most heinous and vicious crimes ever. In 2005, a Japanese radish called a daikon somehow grew from a crack in the pavement. Locals fell in love with the plucky little fellow and put up signs around it in celebration. One night, someone, it's not known who, came and chopped the top off and threw it to the side. The people of Aioi were stricken with grief. It made international news, mostly for the chance for news writers to make vegetable-related puns. But the daikon's fighting spirit lives on as an ideal and, naturally, as a cartoon character. Another cartoon character is at Aioi Station today. That's the famous Hello Kitty Shinkansen. I'm not positive, but I think there are special features inside it too, like a Hello Kitty room and photo murals and stuff like that. Maybe I should ride it someday. I do kind of like the way the cute ribbons of the outside juxtapose with the grimy pink grunge of the train's mechanisms. Hello Kitty is a tough hombre. And we're lucky to get a good look at it. Only Kodamas and some Hikaris stop at Aioi. Most Shinkansens just fly on through. The last thing you see in Hyogo Prefecture is the mighty Chikusa River. When you actually cross the border into Okayama Prefecture, you're in a tunnel. As long as we're in tunnels, let's go look around the train and see what the facilities of this beloved old beast are. Well, not much for passengers so far. Very mysterious train. Smoking wasn't banned, at least in dedicated smoking areas, on board until March 2024. Can't even get into the smoking rooms now. Oops, there's the next car. Different seat layout. Back to my faux green car. Okay, between car 6 and car 7 behind me, not too much. In fact, nothing. 2 smoking areas that are closed because smoking was banned last year. So let's try between 6 and 5, the other end. Okay, finally, something public. 2 bathrooms. I've seen dozens and dozens of these signs over the years in Japan, and it still makes me laugh. Why it would possibly be necessary is beyond my primitive imagination, I guess. Urinal for men with the handy public window and no lock on the door. Oh, the sink has a power outlet, unlike my seat. The water is automatic and there's a temperature control, and it really works. The water got pretty hot quickly. Unfortunately, no dryer and no towels. Alright, here's the train layout. Bathrooms and trash cans and stuff scattered around, but no vending machines. The snack carts pushed up and down the aisles were mostly removed on Shinkansens a few years ago, so you can't buy any food or drink on board. It's probably the most unforgivable lapse in the system. By now we are in Okayama Prefecture, crossing the Asahi River, where ruins of human settlements go back 30,000 years. The next station is Okayama City, one of 2 in Okayama Prefecture. Every Shinkansen on the Sanyō line always stops here. As they should. There's a great castle and Korakuen, one of Japan's so-called 3 great gardens from the mid-1800s. Okayama has 700,000 people, and you can get around on the tramway that's nearly as old as that great garden. Okayama also used to be the end of the Sanyō Shinkansen. The line first opened in 1972, but only from Ōsaka to here. It was extended west to Hakata in 1975. Looks like the platform here has its own 7-Eleven, too. A sure sign you've made it as a Shinkansen station. There's a scheduled 7-minute wait at the platform for my Kodama. That's a Nozomi on the next platform, going to Hakata like me. It came all the way from Tokyo and will arrive in Hakata nearly an hour and a half before me. I noticed that we were running a couple minutes late. The Shinkansen scandal. Indeed, as far as I can tell, the train now mostly has different passengers on it than when we started in Ōsaka. Not totally, but mostly. Wi-Fi doesn't always work in the tunnels, by the way. We're now in Hiroshima Prefecture, the fourth on the trip. Pulling into the first station, Fukuyama, you notice a daring playfulness to the buildings. More eye-catching examples of actual uniqueness distinguish this city. One of its sister cities is Maui, another quirky and laid-back kind of place, I guess. Best of all is what you see peeking around a corner when you arrive at the Shinkansen station. Fukuyama Castle was completed in 1622, when this area was called Bingo. The current one is a 1966 reconstruction. For the train passenger, this is far greater than any old Himeji castle. Shin-Onomichi Station is a newer addition, opened in 1988. In a recent year, it had an average of just over 1,000 passengers boarding a day. I've seen lots of non-Shinkansen stations with way more than that. Only Kodamas and occasional Hikari trains even stop here. That station and the area around it really feel like a quiet local area, which is unusual for a Shinkansen ride, blurring the line between bullet train and local service. Next is Mihara, a city whose population has been steadily falling since 1980. The station here is much older than the last one. It opened in 1894 as part of the Sanyō Railway, which became the JR Sanyō line. This N700 train pulled up on the other platform at Mihara. I don't know what it is. All the shades are pulled down and there's no destination on the electronic sign. No train is due here for another half hour. Maybe a test run or something? Further into Hiroshima Prefecture, the landscape changes. More rolling hills, one of the nicest landscapes on the journey so far. I especially like all those light brown roofs glinting in the sun. The fact that my Kodama is crawling along slower than even a normal train may not say much for its efficiency, but it makes it easier to appreciate the view. This train waiting at Higashi-Hiroshima station is a little mysterious. The official schedule says that it should be a 500 series train like mine, but I'm pretty sure it's a 700 series. It says Railstar on it, which was a sort of no-frills, business-focused variant of Hikari trains from 2000. Hikari Railstar is no longer a thing, but the trains decorated like that are still used. This is running as a Kodama though, like mine. And still, this part of the Sanyō Shinkansen line with its grunge and ivy feels distant, rural, and almost neglected. Charmingly so, I would say. The word Hiroshima refers specifically to the bomb to a lot of people outside Japan, like the word Vietnam, or if you're like me, the word Liverpool. But inside Japan, Hiroshima is just a big city. Everybody knows the history, of course, but mentioning that you're going to Hiroshima is like saying you're going to Ōsaka. It's just a place. But tourists should visit Hiroshima because the park and the museum dedicated to the bomb are stark and vital and unmissable. And the last few people I recognized from Ōsaka got off the train here. But some new people are getting on. Leaving Hiroshima, where all Shinkansen trains stop, you start to see channels of the Ota River Delta. Hiroshima was chosen for bombing due to its strategic military importance, but the actual spot was a specific bridge a little south of what's now the train line, which was easy to spot from the air. Having seen photos of the city after the blast, you can't help but be impressed by the rebuilding. Lunchtime for me. I made sure to buy a bento at Shin-Osaka Station this morning. Eel and rice, prepared at 8 a.m. today, it says. This is Shin-Iwakuni. Only kodamas and some hikaris stop here. This is where my specific train started this morning. It came to Ōsaka to pick me up and then came back here. It's the first station in our new prefecture, Yamaguchi, and we're greeted by another one-piece train. The next station is Tokuyama. I had to climb over to the other side of the train to see the view here. Finally, we're close enough to get a glimpse of the water of the Seto Inland Sea, which is full of islands and lies between Honshu and Shikoku. I've heard that the trick to enjoying Japan is to concentrate on the pretty parts, here the deep, swirling, warm turquoise waters, and just tune out the eruption of megascale ugliness all around. Personally, I kinda like both. It's definitely not an unremarkable scene. That's the JR Sanyō line down there, which stretches all the way from Kobe to the island of Kyushu. This is Shin-Yamaguchi Station. The first station here was built in 1900 and it was called Ogori, and that's what it was until it changed its name in 2003. This is a real train lover's station. Not only is there a rail yard below, but two other lines besides the Shinkansen and the JR Sanyō line start here. There's the Ube line down to the coast, and the Yamaguchi line up through the mountains to the Sea of Japan coast. And that line also features a very old-timey steam train which still runs for tourists on weekends. Next is one of the least known stops on the Shinkansen route. Only Kodama trains stop at Asa Station, never any other classifications. It basically serves as a place to pause and get your bearings for one of the highlights of the ride coming up. We're nearing the western tip of Honshu now. The final station in Yamaguchi, and thus on Honshu, is Shin-Shimonoseki. Nice self-portrait in the windows. As soon as you pull out of Shin-Shimonoseki, you enter a tunnel. This is the Shin-Kanmon tunnel. It's almost 19 kilometers, over 11.5 miles long, and it goes under the sea and the Kanmon Strait that separates Honshu and Kyushu. When it opened in 1975, it was the longest railway tunnel in Japan, and it's still the longest Shinkansen tunnel between Tokyo and Fukuoka. It's 5 times longer than the nearby tunnel for regular trains and the tunnel for cars. Incidentally, there's also a free tunnel for pedestrians to walk under the strait. When you emerge on the other side, you're on Kyushu. Not the most attractive welcome, but at least there are some water views now on my side of the train. And only one more station to go until the terminus. This is Kokura Station, the second busiest station on Kyushu and one where every Shinkansen always stops. It's the main station in the city of Kita, Kyushu. Kokura was a city that merged with 4 others in the 1960s to form the new city of Kita, Kyushu. As far as I can tell, there is no Kita, Kyushu station. Kokura, by the way, was where the second atomic bomb was supposed to be dropped in 1945. The plane with the Fat Man bomb on it came, but there was too much smoke and clouds around Kokura. After 3 attempts, the pilot gave up and flew to Nagasaki instead. I haven't mentioned it, but the pre-recorded announcements that they've been playing throughout this entire train ride have been nearly impossible to hear. Very, very low volume. Approaching the final station, the conductor is making actual live announcements, and they're much easier to hear. The 500 train is losing its hearing in its old age. Confusingly again, to me anyway, Hakata is the main station for the huge city of Fukuoka. Again, there is no Fukuoka station. Well, there is, but it's an unrelated one elsewhere in Japan. Hakata is a historic part of Fukuoka. This is the busiest station in Kyushu. Well, we're here after almost 4.5 hours on the slowest, fastest train in the world. And goodbye to the 500 series train. All the cars on this train will be scrapped either next year or the year after. And that's how it goes, the way of the world. So say goodbye to the 500, and I will see you on the next adventure. Watch more exclusive travelogues, video diaries, and other stuff as a paid or free supporter at patreon.com/T1DWanderer. Special thanks this week in random order to Thomas G. Ritchie, Samantha, Ray Nichols, Will Phillips, David Richley, Calvin Ferreira, Darcy Otranto, Michael Fedor, Russell Davis, Matt Kane, Lever Wong, and Lars Steenberg. Thanks for riding the Sanyō Shinkansen with me. Everywhere is worth exploring.
15番乗りは停車中の列車は回送列車です。15番乗りは停車中の列車は回送列車です。 75列車内転勤終了7125でどう